welcome to the NFT MetaJungle. I am Emma, aka Nifty Meta Girl, and very excited to be bringing you episode 11 of our 12-part series where we are doing a deep dive into the artists and the photography that we are currently displaying in an exhibit with SuperChief at Venice Biennale in Venice, Italy. All the pieces included in this exhibition are pieces that have been collected by AlphaTrilogy and curated by him and myself. And the title of this exhibition is Discovering Photography in Web3. So we are super excited to be able to highlight 98 photos from 90 different artists that are active in the NFT space. And our goal with this exhibit is really to be able to feature many different artists, many different physical locations, many different genres of photography for the viewer to be able to connect with pieces, to be really to be able to connect with their stories, to be interested, and be able to start understanding how prevalent photography is becoming in the NFT space. So it has been a really, really rewarding experience to be able to both help curate this exhibit and also be able to visit it in real life. It's amazing to get to see people interact with these beautiful art pieces, to be able to see them being exhibited in such an amazing place. The Art Biennale exhibits have been happening every 2 years since 1895, which is pretty amazing. And really, this exhibit happens in multiple places around the world. In Venice, there were 3 different locations where some of the top art in the world is being exhibited, and it's just absolutely incredible to be able to present these works in such an amazing space. So today we're going to be delving into episode 11. Of course, if you've been following along, you are aware that we've covered many different genres and many different artists. In our last episode, we highlighted aerial and experimental photography. Today, we're going to be continuing that interest and love for Mother Nature as we delve into our wildlife and nature segment. And so we have 12 different episodes that we're highlighting because we have 12 different scenes within this exhibit. And so each one is focused on a genre and also includes many subgenres of photography. So very excited to be able to highlight these amazing wildlife photographs. We're going to be appreciating the nature that is around us, the wild animals that there's photographers being able to capture. One of the amazing things about NFTs that I've appreciated from the wildlife photography standpoint is it really gives the opportunity to be able to document some amazing creatures, for us to be able to learn more about them, but also for the photographers that are so passionate about what they are creating and the areas, the animals that they're preserving. It really gives a way of being able to continue sharing about their passion, and many times also being able to create funds to help support their different passions, and also collectors to be able to participate in preserving, whether it be contributing to preserving a particular species of animals, to be able to contribute in some way of being able to support these animals, or maybe a particular area. So really, really interesting, the work that so many people are doing. Again, NFTs give you that chance to connect so much with the people that are creating the images, and it's so rewarding to get to learn about everything that they are doing, the things that they have spent their lives devoted to, and being able to kind of get a glimpse into their world. And that is something that is very consistent with the 8 photographers that we've included in this particular series. Today, we're going to be highlighting 8 different photographers and 8 different photos. They're going to include areas that we're going to highlight underwater, the water itself, and then some other wild creatures. So very excited to do a deep dive into this particular set, and hopefully you'll be able to connect with particular pieces and or artists that resonate with you. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump in. The first artist that we're highlighting in this particular series, her name is Kori Burkhardt. And amazingly enough, Kori is a shark biologist with a marine science degree from the Hawaii Pacific University. And she is dedicated to conservation and research of shark and ray species. And she continues to grow and develop as she travels around the globe, expanding her knowledge on the world's most misunderstood creatures, which is pretty incredible. She has been awarded as one of NOAA's Pacific Islands Fisheries Science Center Young Scientist of the Year. She began her scientific studies as a coral ecologist and quickly transitioned into her desired area of studying sharks. Her current focus is primarily shark behavioral ecology in regards to the competition over resources, social hierarchies, and interspecies habitat overlap. With many years and much experience working as an operator in the shark ecotourism field, she intends to promote positive human-shark interactions and highlight the importance of enforcing protective regulations currently placed for sharks of French Polynesia. And Kori is actually based in French Polynesia, which is pretty incredible, and really have so much appreciation both for her knowledge and for her passion of being involved in helping us understand more about these beautiful creatures, and also being able to understand how we're interacting with them, how they're being impacted by our actions. Now, this particular collection that we are highlighting is the Wild Beneath, and the particular image we have included is number 9, The Beginning. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful image. This particular image is taken of a humpback whale, and she is included in the description that in the beginning, when a humpback whale calf is born, they're gray-white in color. As they grow and shed their birth skin layer, they then take a darker pigmentation. This, along with size, allows you to estimate the age of the calf, aging them between birth and only a couple weeks old. It's always so exciting to see a fresh baby, knowing you are witnessing those very first moments in life. Part of this 2001 season's work, a Mayomana Foundation is collecting this shredded skin from the whales. It breaks off and floats in the water around the whale as part of an association, Oceana, a genetics study on humpback whale population that visits French Polynesia each year. This photo I decided to title The First Beginning, not only because of it being the beginning of life, but also this capture was my first calf I ever photographed here in Monora, which is absolutely amazing. And what an incredible opportunity to have, an experience to have. But also it's so interesting. Kori is so passionate about sharing her knowledge. It is just really, really amazing. Now in this collection, you'll find from humpback whales to tiger sharks. This collection features some of her most prized moments spent underwater in the various islands and atolls of French Polynesia over a 6-year period, where she was an expedition guide and a shark biologist. She says each underwater moment is captured on breath hold, often allowing more intimate observations of naturally invasive wildlife. She says her goal is to share captures of marine wildlife with those who may also be passionate about the ocean themselves, or as a way for those who are not able to experience it firsthand. And she's particularly aiming to share images of sharks as dreamy yet still powerful representation of the ocean's most misunderstood predator. And this is an anti-Jaws movement. And she, again, has done such a beautiful job of including a wonderful, unique description for each of the pieces that really helps you understand her perspective, but also gain such an appreciation for the moment and the animal that is captured. So really a great way of kicking off this particular set, this particular series. Kori has so much amazing experience and passion for us to be able to learn from. So really has been amazing to get to connect with her in this space. And Alpha has said that photos of whales always give me a feeling of peace. Love the light in this one, which is absolutely beautiful. And in a really other interesting detail, that Kori is a co-founder of conservation and research organization Moana Foundation. Her mission commits to protecting sharks and is actually featured in National Geographic and Discovery Channel for her work with sharks since 2014. So definitely a professional and a really strong voice in this space. So very happy to include Kori. Please check out her work to learn more about all that she's creating. Now our next piece is also related to the ocean, the power and the beauty of the water that so many of us appreciate. This particular piece is captured by Ren McGann, and Ren is a big wave surfer and Photoshop artist based in Western Australia. He has said that he has always had a deep fascination with the ocean and the energy that it produces. Through his images, he tries to convey a blend of surrealism and power to show these subjects from a new perspective. He is a master at what he creates and what he produces, very much fine art, and it's, again, a really incredible way to appreciate what Mother Nature creates and what we're able to actually see around us. Now, this particular piece that we've included in this selection is called No Fear. And Alpha has said about this particular piece, the magic of perfect texture and color evoke a spirit of confidence and hope, which is such a beautiful way of explaining what is photographed here. And Ren includes with the photograph description, fear is a thing that shapes the world around us and how we interact with it. It is the emotion that when confronted and overcome opens doors and brings new perspective of confidence in oneself, which many people can apply that particular statement with water itself. It's always interesting how many people have an affliction with water and then also maybe the creatures within it. It's just such an undiscovered and sometimes unknown front. So it is really rewarding to think about being able to overcome those obstacles and to be able to see a new perspective and with that gain a new confidence. So Ren is a master at his genre, creating these beautiful images of the water. I love how the colors in this one really complement one another, the blues and the coolness of the water with the warmness of the sunrise. It really does share a vision of hope. So very happy to include this particular piece in this selection. Now, our next photographer is another very talented and very passionate underwater photographer. We always enjoy the passion that Ryan shares when he comes and talks in spaces about his work. He has a fantastic accent, but he also is so passionate and excited, and really you can tell that he really enjoys these interactions and wants other people to share that enthusiasm as well. Now, it's said that as a child, Ryan used to sit at the shore and watch his father descend beneath the waves and wait for him to emerge soon after, full of tales about the unique and awe-inspiring creatures below. Underwater spiders, intricate coral, rainbow-colored fish, and of course, sharks. For years, Ryan begged to go diving with his father, but wasn't old enough for scuba until he was given a scuba diving course for his 13th birthday. He was blown away by what he discovered beneath the waves. And he shares with us, it wasn't long after I picked up an underwater camera and started documenting what I saw in the underwater world. His first camera was actually an early GoPro, and his photos and footage were, he says, pretty substandard, but he enjoyed sharing and also appreciated the support of his family and friends, and really does have such a passion for underwater photography, and that love and support helps that passion bloom. So not long after, Ryan had a DSL camera in his hand and has been traveling the globe photographing the incredible wildlife that inhabits the oceans around us. Now, Ryan, it is so amazing. He knows so much about sharks and these beautiful animals that live underwater. It's really incredible that he includes, his beginnings and his upbringing, because he still when he's sharing about his artwork, you can feel that childlike awe and appreciation in what he is sharing. It is something that he can really share that excitement, and it's contagious. You want to hear more about what he's creating and more about the animals that he is so passionate about. Now, this particular piece that we've included is from the collection Underwater Wildlife, and it is entitled Needles. And he has shared in the description for this particular piece, the needle-like teeth of the gray nurse sharks spill out from their bottom jaw. They are slightly tilted back and are made more for piercing fish. The shape of the teeth enables the shark to hold on to squid and the fish that they prey upon. He says, despite their aggressive appearance, gray nurse sharks are a pleasure to dive with and will not harm you unless they are provoked. They are curious creatures, often approaching you within centimeters in order to investigate the strange-looking creatures swimming in their home. And in this particular collection, Ryan highlights that the underwater world is filled with the most unique and incredible wildlife tucked away beneath the waves, inaccessible to most. Each species and individual animal has its own personality waiting to be captured. The environment presents some unique challenges for an underwater photographer. Photo shoots are limited by the amount of air you carry. Telephoto lenses are impractical, leaving only wide-angle lenses usable. As an underwater photographer, I need to learn about how my subject behaves, capture its attention, and engage with it in order to draw them close. I have to stay calm under their presence, and only then will I have the chance of capturing an image. He says, in this collection, these are some of my most close special encounters, and he enjoys the opportunity to share them with us. Alpha's quote for this particular piece, he says, sharks make for fun photographs, and Ryan is incredible at fearlessly capturing them. And Alpha does a great job of summing up this particular piece and also Ryan's ability to convey that passion. So definitely a collection that's worth checking out, and it's just amazing how Ryan is able to learn more about the subjects he's capturing and to be able to share that personality. So I really appreciate that attention to detail. Now, our next photographer also is very passionate about capturing underwater wildlife and also does a great job of being able to share that passion with us and get us excited about what he's doing. Now, sometimes he's referred to as the whale poppy, but he is also known as Matt Walch. Matt is an ocean photographer based in Tahiti, and he's grown up on Reunion Island, and that is where his love for the ocean started. This was in the South Pacific, and he also started his love for photography as soon as he was able to get close to whales and sharks. His goal is to make you feel what it's like to experience incredible underwater encounters. He is part of several associations aiming at protecting the oceans and the marine life. His hope is that by sharing their beauty through artworks, it will raise awareness about how much these ecosystems are needed to be preserved. So really appreciate that, a passion, and also being able to recognize that with his passion, he can also help others be able to support these areas. So really an amazing educational element as well. Now, this particular collection that we've selected a piece from is Turquoise Dreams. The particular piece is entitled Back to Mom. And in Matt's true fashion, the piece is just absolutely beautiful. You are really in awe of the opportunity to be able to see this animal in the wild. Again, something that most of us would only hope to be able to encounter. For the particular piece, he says, in French Polynesia, we are lucky to have whales coming for mating and giving birth for about 3 months every year before they head back to Antarctica. Now, this is taken from a collection of underwater moments from the Pacific Ocean. He says his goal here is to share the beauty of the underwater world with the viewer, as well as make the viewer feel what it is like to experience these moments. And it is intended to support the Moa Mana Foundation that we talked about with Kori's collection, and to support shark research and conservation programs in French Polynesia. And so he actually gives back 100% of the earnings to that particular foundation. And he says that the ocean gave a lot to us. It's about time to give back. So absolutely appreciate his passion and his dedication. And Alpha has said about this particular piece, baby whales make me feel small and insignificant. Love how this baby seems to be basking in the light. And interestingly enough, Matt shares about this particular piece that when you're in the water with a mom and her calf, sometimes they'll just leave. But there's others in which she'll just trust you enough to stay for a while. And baby whales can't stay underwater as long as the adults. They need to come up to the surface more often. And he said that in this particular instance, the calf did just that. And he's headed back down to the sea floor where his mom is waiting for him. You can see that she is in the shadow in the upper right-hand part of this particular image. So it's just absolutely amazing that we have advocates like Matt out in the wild, capturing these moments and sharing them with us. So really appreciate all that these photographers are doing to help us be able to experience these moments and also gain appreciation for our surroundings. So beautiful image, and very happy to include that in this particular curation. Now, our next photographer, we're going to travel from the depths of the ocean to the jungle. And this particular wildlife photographer, his name is Arvind Karthik, and he sees wildlife photography as an infinite, learning, challenging, and exciting experience. He says, nature is the greatest power on earth, and every time I visit the jungle, I understand how small we are in reality. It's amazing to document those beautiful and raw moments in nature. I could not agree more. Interestingly enough, his passion for Indian wildlife was a childhood fascination come true. He was raised in Bangalore, and he grew up watching film series like The Jungle Book and many other wildlife documentaries on National Geographic and BBC. He was fascinated by cameras from a young age, which inspired him to become a professional wildlife photographer and wildlife filmmaker. He actually has his degree in instrumentation engineering and is now employed as a manager of operations. So always interesting to know, how people are able to pursue their passion and the other interesting occupations that they may have in their day-to-day life. Now, this particular collection is called Back in Wild. The particular piece is called the Alpha. I absolutely love that he chose to capture these images in black and white. It's just such a fine art approach to wildlife photography. Some time ago, I was presented with the idea that wildlife and portrait photography are really one and the same, and that always has stuck with me. And this particular piece, really, that ideal resonates with me because it is such a portrait of this animal here. Now, when we look at the description for this particular piece, we learn that this is a really interesting story. Arvind had actually personally been following this particular alpha male for 3 years. And in this particular instance, he had planned a successful hunt with a pack of 6 wild dogs and surrounded a spotted deer herd. And then he attacked them. And he was very grateful for the opportunity to witness how beautiful these ruthless predators execute their killer plan. So it sounds like just watching an episode on National Geographic where we see, how these wild animals interact with their surroundings. I'm sure that was absolutely amazing to see. With the particular collection, Arvind says that this is one of his most special collections. And that's because it was an emotional story, and emotions come through so much stronger in black and white. He says, when the images are in black and white, they seem timeless, and so are the stories of the sightings and the story behind these pictures, which is such an interesting perspective. And in this particular collection, he is featuring 9 different photographs, and he says that with each one sold, some of the proceeds go to wildlife conservation and in projects that he is dedicated to. He also dedicates this collection to his father, who has supported him as a wildlife photographer, which is really, really such a nice personal touch. Alpha has said about this collection, Arvind followed this alpha male for 3 years, and his patience resulted in a beautiful and powerful portrait. And yes, what an amazing result for something that he's put in so much time and so much attention and so much patience. So very well done, Arvind, and happy to include this beautiful story in this beautiful image. Now, our next photographer is someone that we've been very active with in this space. His name is Hendro Soetrisno, and he is a very, very passionate and very successful fine art photographer. Something I love about Hendro's work, he actually would say that he is a visual storyteller, and something that from the onset of seeing Hendro's images, I was really amazed how he captures wildlife in such a beautiful way, such a thoughtful way, but then also uses color and different backgrounds to really create an emotive experience. Now, Hendro is an international award-winning photographer. He's a master of photography from PPA, a master photographer in fine art, accredited in fine art nature from MPI, and a master of WPPI. He represented the United States in the World Photographic Cup and brought home the gold medal in the nature category and the Best of Nations award. So very well decorated. He has won over 150 prestigious awards from reputable organizations worldwide, including the Professional Photographer of America, Wedding and Portrait Photographers International, Master Photographers International, and the Australian Institute of Professional Photography. So again, he is really a renowned photographer and has been recognized in so many different ways. So very happy to be able to spotlight him and include him in this particular series. I love how he uses his imagination and to be able to create images that are only his. When you see his work, it's so recognizable as Hendro's work. And he says that his fine art images are a part of his imagination, where the color of the water is sometimes pink instead of blue, where birds and other animals speak to him when he speaks to them. I just love that, and you really can see that playfulness and that interest in the work that he creates. His work is a result of more than 25 years of photography, thousands of captures, and endless waiting for a single perfect moment, followed by months of post-production to bring his world of imagination to life. Now, he entered into the NFT space in January of 2020, and it's been so interesting to learn both about his process and see his images. I actually had the opportunity to curate an edition with Hendro, and it was so amazing to me to see the attention to detail in the physical, like in the actual image, in the photograph that was produced, but also the amazing amount of detail that he included and knew about each of the subjects that he captured. You could tell that this wasn't something that he took lightly, that it was really a true passion, and I appreciate that so much. Now, this particular collection is entitled Life by Hendro Soetrisno, and the particular piece is a moment of solitude. The background that he chose in this particular piece is just absolutely beautiful, but you're also captivated by the detail of the bird that's shown here. The texture in the feathers, the overall feel of the entire image is just absolutely beautiful. And if we go to the photo description, we know that a zen-like calmness washes over me when I look at the calm ocean. I feel that the brown pelican, if he could speak, would have agreed with me. His body language does show he is one with me, enjoying the tranquility. Life, the theme of my series, to live and to let live, and to cohabitate and coexist in harmony. And so Hendro does such a great job of describing this particular piece, and I completely agree with the description he has included. And Alpha has said about this piece, Hendro is a master at conveying emotion in fine art wildlife photographs. There is an understated elegance that I would not expect from a photograph of a pelican. And again, this is such a great example of the work that Hendro creates and the way in which he's able to really elevate these experiences and make them so unique. So very happy to include this particular piece and definitely encourage you to check out more of Hendro's work. Now, our next artist that we are including in this particular series, her name is Brynn Alise, and Brynn, she says that she loves adventure, nature, and wildlife, which you will definitely see through her images. She currently lives in Boulder, Colorado, and spends most of her time in the Western states, Southern California, and Maui with her family. She says that she spends the majority of her time in nature with photography, rock climbing, camping, hiking, backpacking, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and that her boys have been raised in the outdoors to spend lots of times in the mountains and at the beach. And so she is also a huge advocate for conservation. And interestingly enough, Brynn was with the nonprofit Nature's First for 2 years, and she worked there as a social media director and a writer for the organization, and their purpose was to educate and engage photographers in conservation principles. She's also volunteered in the past with Sierra Club and has donated her photography to media outlets who write to promote conservation. From the sales of her wildlife NFT collection, this particular collection, she has donated over $12,000 to the Western Environmental Law Center and the Center for Biological Diversity, who both work to protect threatened and endangered species and habitats to the greater Yellowstone ecosystem where she spends most of her time. So pretty amazing to see how much Brynn's life is impacted with spending time in wildlife, to be actually out there creating, preserving, and being able to also help fund some of these agencies that are also advocating for the preservation. This particular piece that we've included is entitled Balance, number 33 Elk, and it's from her Balance in Nature Conservation of Wildlife collection, which is a particular collection that she has made such a sizable donation from. This particular piece is such a beautiful piece of the picture of this elk. He's so grand, and it's amazing to be able to see an animal like this in the wild. And in this particular collection, she says that this is an image that reflects my heart and soul in my photography and my passion for conservation. She says, I had a love for wildlife ingrained in me from an early age growing up at our small family cottage in on the Pacific Ocean. She said she first learned the name of every sea creature and shell on the beach and spent hours in tidal pools. As she grew up, her love for wildlife continued, and her passion for protecting wildlife grew stronger. She majored in college in environmental health and planning, and it's just absolutely amazing to see how she's been able to pursue her passions by continuing in her education. She's actually studied environmental law and advanced environmental law in college, and actually has gone on to work in her professional career at a law firm working on issues related to Endangered Species Act, biological diversity, mitigation for development, and environmental planning. So she really has, her passion for wildlife has really shaped her entire life, and it's really inspiring to see someone that has such a love and such a passion and dedication for what she does. And in this particular piece, Alpha has said, I believe that one of the signs of a great wildlife photographer is when they're able to convey the individuality of each of their subjects. This elk has its own unique personality, and it is evident in the expression that Brynn captured. And again, when someone's passion shines through so much, it's amazing what they're able to capture. So really, this is such a great example and an amazing piece to include in our wildlife series. So as you can tell, Brynn is an amazing person and advocate to get to know in this wildlife genre. So definitely encourage for you to reach out through social media and get to know more about her and these beautiful images that she creates. Now, our final photographer that we're including in this particular series is actually a multi-disciplinary photographer, but also has a very strong passion for capturing wildlife photography and also helping to educate us in wildlife photography. This photographer's name is Subodh Shetty, and he probably would be referred to as a travel photographer. However, he does travel to these remote areas and has just amazing captures of wild animals in amazing situations and environments. But he's from India, but based out of Dubai, and has lived there for the last 14 years. But as being a multidisciplinary photographer, he also associates himself, of course, with wildlife, but also drone, deep space photography, portraits, and really being able to convey and tell a story. He has said that the world is my canvas. I am nothing but a painter. And I think that is something that you would definitely see in his work. And he does lead different photography workshops around the globe. And he's been published in National Geographic, The Guardian, CN Traveler, Practical Photography, Nikon Asia, and many, many more. He's been published across 5 continents, which was part of his collection, Atlas of Humanity. And he's also been a TEDx speaker in Dubai, and he is an affiliated photographer with Nikon. So it is pretty amazing to know what he has accomplished in his photography career. Subodh is also a photographer in this space that's very active in helping photographers on board into the NFT space, and by sharing his passion for this new opportunity for photographers. We definitely enjoy connecting with him in spaces on a regular basis, and also being able to see, how his journey is progressing within the NFT space. But this is such a powerful image that's been selected for this particular set. This is from his series called Before They Vanish. And the particular piece is Game of Thrones. And this particular series is so amazing to me. The textures and the colors that we see within all of the pieces, because they really feel like a fine art painting as much as they do a photograph. He's still able to capture the animals in their natural habitat and wants to be able to convey different elements about the way that they live and the interactions that they have with one another. However, his processing is a way in which it really elevates the images and makes them something so special. We can really feel the passion in this particular piece. And he has said in this description, life is not always easy for the king. When a lion receives his mating call to duty, he is required to muster up all the stamina he has to satisfy his lioness. When a lioness is in heat and looking to mate, she calls the shots. She decides when, where, and how often mating will take place. His job is to get the job done. And he says that females are receptive to mating, and really talks more about that process and what goes on here. But I really love how he has that passion for learning about all of the elements related to the wildlife photography that he shoots, and really gives us those inside details about what he's capturing. But again, does so in a way in which we're really captivated by the image and we want to know more about what it is that he is capturing capturing here. And he always does a great job of including so many important details in his descriptions. Now, this particular collection was captured in the Mesamara, which is an area where he really enjoys going and introducing photographers to the wildlife in this particular part of the world. So always enjoy seeing Subodh's point of view, both learning about it from his written word, but especially seeing it in his visual images. And Alpha has said about this particular piece, Subodh is more than a luminary. He is a tireless and selfless advocate for photography and Web3. He will forever be remembered for this advocacy, and I treasure every photo of his that I am fortunate to collect. And again, Subodh makes a really impactful impression here in the space, both with his own personal work and the photography that he presents, but also the work that he is doing to help promote this space. So it was only appropriate to include both this amazing piece, but also to have him represented within this exhibit. So again, that is the final piece of our series of our wildlife and nature photography set. I hope you've enjoyed this deep dive. It's such an honor to be able to share with you more about these amazing artists, the amazing things that they are doing to help preserve our world and educate us about the amazing creatures that are within our world. This is, again, part of the exhibit that's being shown at Venice Biennale currently in Venice, Italy. MetaJungle in conjunction with SuperChief, and all of these images are curated from AlphaTrilogy's collection. So again, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please check the show notes below. We'll have the contact information for all the artists that we highlighted within this episode. Also, we would love for you to leave a comment if you have any questions or anything you would like to know more about. Please like, share, subscribe. We love having that support from our community. Also, feel free to follow along with us on Twitter. You can find us at MetaJungle NFT. You can connect with me directly at Nifty Metagirl. Would love to hear from you. Please check out our other episodes if this is the first you've seen. Again, this is episode 11 of our 12-part series. Would love for you to learn about the other photos and photographers that we've included in this exhibit. And please stay tuned. We have one more episode coming to you to finish out this particular series. So thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next time.